Hello, in this video, I want to create two virtual environments, right? So, and the purpose of this is, imagine I have a situation where I have two Python projects, right, that actually uses the Boto3 SDK, right? And and for the two Python projects, the Boto3 that was used to develop those projects, the Boto3 versions are different. Maybe one is maybe 1.27, the other one is 1.36, something just different. So if I want to deploy those two applications, do I need to create two virtual machines? I really don't need to. So I can deploy those two applications on this virtual machine, right? Or one thing I can do is to create virtual environment for each of those um, applications, right? So that there will not be conflict of dependencies, right? So, so let's just go get right into it. I'm just going to create virtual environments, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to ensure that virtual env is installed, right? On my root, I'm going to ensure that that is installed. Let me check. Paste. So let me do this version. Okay, is installed, right? Is installed. So, but if it's not installed, one can just do pip3 install virtual. If it's not installed, virtual env, and and then for me, it says the requirement is already satisfied, so it's installed. So let me clear. Then the next thing I can do is to check. So before I continue, let me just make a, let me just make a, let me say vir env new. So virtual environment. So just want to make a directory, and then I'm going to do all my stuff inside this directory. Okay. So let me switch into this directory. Okay. So so now what I want to do is that I want to check the libraries that are in my, so let me, the libraries, right? I'm going to use this pip freeze command, right, to check for the libraries, right? And then when we check for the libraries, we're going to see that we're going to see that Boto3, right, is not installed. So I'll do cat on this txt file, copy, paste. So if you look now, let's go to B, right? So if we come to B, you see Babel is there, Boto core is there, right? But Boto3 is not there, right? Boto core is there, but Boto3 is not there. Even though if you install Boto3, it comes with, I think it comes with Boto core, but from here we can see that Boto core is not there. So what we are going to do is that we're going to create two, let me clear, we're going to create two virtual environments and have, the specific version of Boto3 installed in them. So, um, so for the first one, so let me create for the first virtual environment, I'm going to, use this command to create the virtual environment. So let me see. Okay, Python. So, and just to make sure, Python is there. Okay. So I'll just use this command, python-m, which is, and then I'm just going to put the name of the virtual environment, right? So this is going to be the name of the virtual environment, right? It does not necessarily have to be this. I'm just putting the name of the virtual environment, and given that I want to have Boto3 installed, I just put it there. You can put anything here, right? And also the version that I want to install. I just, you know, so, so So let's see. It's going to create. Okay. So now to be able to see, to be able to, to be able to actually work in that virtual environment, we have to activate it, right? So we are going to use the source command, right? We're going to use the source command, then we'll put the name of the virtual environment, which is this, right? Then we'll do bin and activate, right? So we activate it. So now you see, I'm currently inside the virtual environment, right? And let me even come here. Let's just check. Let me come here. So this is my directory that I create, the one that I created. So inside it now, this is the virtual environment. Now, inside it now, once I create this virtual environment, it's interesting to note that it automatically comes with these folders, right? And to check the version of my Python, I can see the version of my Python right here in my lib. I can see the version of the Python. So that's just it for the virtual environment. So what I want to do is that I want to install Boto3, right? So I can do, because if I do what's that command again, to check the to check, I think is pip freeze. So if I do pip freeze, let me do this one is for the root, right? So I'm currently inside this virtual environment. So I'm just gonna say pip freeze, say vmv1, right, .txt. So if I do that, so let me now check what is inside this. So as I'm doing this now, you see that, let me check here. Yeah, this is it. This is it, right? So let me do cat on this. Nothing is there, right? Nothing is there. So, but install, um, once I install Boto3, once I install Boto3, then we're going to see that, um, we're going to see that it's going to be there, right? So if I install Boto3, once I do this cat, you're going to see it. So now let me install Boto3. So I'm just going to use pip3 install Boto3, and then I'm going to put the particular version, right? So paste pip3 install Boto3, then this is the version, right? So, okay, it's downloading. So it's installing, and okay. So it says version 25 is available, yes. So now let me go back. So let me go back and do my pip freeze. Okay. Then I'll do my cat again. So I'll do cat vmv1, right? So once I do that, right, you see that Boto3 is now inside, is now installed, right, in this virtual environment, right? So the next thing I'm going to do is so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to exit this virtual environment. I will just deactivate, okay? And then I'm going to create another virtual environment, right, for the latest version of Boto3, right? So I'm just going to call the name of that one AWS VMV latest Python 3-m VMV AWS. So this is the name. This is the name of my new virtual environment. Okay. Okay, so that's it. So let me just come here. Just let me so now if I look at my left, right. So now I have two virtual environments, right? I have two virtual environments. This is the one I just created now. This one here. So now let me just do pip freeze. Pip freeze. I'll just change this one to maybe 2. Right. Just change this one to 2. Oh, before we do that, we need to activate this virtual environment, right? So we need to activate it. So, um, I'm just going to use the source AWS, the source, then the name of the virtual environment /bin/activate, right? So I'm just going to use that command. Yes. So the name of my virtual environment is AWS VMV-latest Boto3. So which is what I have here. Enter. So now I'm inside the virtual environment. So now I can do my pip freeze. Pip freeze. Okay. So then I'll just change this one to 2. Right. So this one is to list the dependencies, right? The libraries inside. So if I do that now, currently there's nothing inside this. There's nothing. So if I do cat on this txt file, there's nothing there. See that there's nothing there. So, but once I install the latest version of Boto3, once I install it, it's just, you will see once I do this cat, it's just going to be there. The latest version will be there. So let me install. So pip3 install Boto3. I'm not going to put any particular specific version now because I want to install the latest version. So it's going to install it. And once it's done, you're going to do this cat again. Right. We're going to do this cat again. And okay. So I have that. Let me clear. Okay. So I have that. Now I'm going to do okay, let me just do cat first. Let me see if it's going to bring it out. Okay, it's not bringing out. Let me do pip freeze first. Pip freeze this. Then I'll do cat. I'll do cat on this. Okay. Yeah, so you see that's the latest version 1.36. That's the latest version. So now you see that I have two isolated environments, right? Two isolated environments, yeah, and I can just exit, just deactivate. So yeah, so I'm out of that virtual environment, right? See that before I'm here, but now I'm out of it. If I just want to go back to it, I'll just go to source, just do source, then put the name of the environment, right? Just like if I want to go back in, just come inside and that's it. So now, how do we know that it's these two environments, they are isolated? How do we know? So what I'm going to do is that let me deactivate, right? Then I'm going to do pip freeze my root environment, right? My root environment. So once I do that pip freeze my root environment, you will see that Boto3 is actually not in my root environment. Right, so I'm just trying to go up to, okay, so pip freeze, this is like my root environment, right? you see that Boto3 is still not in my root environment. However, Boto3 is installed in the, in the virtual environment, the different versions. So let's see. So I'll do cat paste. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back to B. So see, we have Babel, we have Boto. So Boto3 is not there. So the two environments are actually isolated, right? They're isolated from each other. So this is one way you can, can isolate, can create virtual environments and, run applications and, applications of different, with dependencies of different versions, right? So I hope this is really interesting.